Hello, my name is Ozasa. I'm from Hokkaido University. Thank you so much for inviting me to this wonderful conference. So as you can see on the screen here, today I would like to talk about the promotion of sustainable university development and also how to fulfill the sustainable development goals. And I'd like to use Hokkaido University as an example, but I'll be talking about it overall. And so the theme for today is sustainable university development. But today I'd like to talk about what is a sustainable university, what makes a campus sustainable. And some of you may not know what that means, so I'd like to talk about that. And first, I believe it's very important to have a foundation for our understanding. And so I'd like to talk about the assessment system for sustainable campuses, which we have created. So what is the ASSC, the assessment system for sustainable campuses? And so the abbreviation here is ASSC, ASSC. So this is going to be a little bit of a commercial conversation. So there's an organization called CASNet Japan, the Campus Sustainability Network in Japan. And I have an English and Japanese version of these pamphlets, and I've brought them with me, so they're on the table over there. If anyone has any interest, you can come take one later. I'd be very happy. And so there are about 43 companies and 111 people involved in this endeavor. And Okayama-san, who just presented, is also involved in this organization. And I am also involved, and I am in charge of the ASSC division. And so this is very hard to see on the screen, but this is about what we're doing. And I'm just going to ask for the pointer really quickly. The point is a little hard to see. But if you look in the top right of this screen, we have an assessment system and evaluation system. In America, the STAR system is very well known, and we've kind of made our own version of that. And rating campuses within gold, silver, and platinum. And we have over 120 evaluation criteria in our survey. And so if you have a high score, then you are rated as platinum. And so we only award platinum once every few years, but every year a few schools are evaluated as gold schools. So this is very related to Okayama-san's presentation earlier. Yes, but we have the evaluation system and we also rate campuses on how well they are integrated into the community and also how well the student initiatives are being led. And sometimes we have school clubs doing this, and sometimes the school itself is doing it. But we see all of these as activities that go to make the campus more sustainable. And so our system is exists to rate the products of those activities and initiatives. And then we And there's also a newcomer award for universities that are participating for the first time in the assessment. And so this is a good way for universities to understand that their activities have an impact on campus sustainability. And so the International Sustainable Campus Network is the largest network of this type in the world. And then we also have the EAUC, the Environmental Association for Universities and Colleges. And this is a group that's primarily active in England and Scotland. And so what's also very important in the evaluation is whether you have relationships with these kinds of international activities or not. And then the Asian Sustainability Campus Network is primarily active in Asian countries such as Korea and China. And we are also working with them and have a joint conference about once a year. And so that was kind of the end of my commercial bit. So I'd like to talk about the ASSC system. And so this is divided into 4 categories. And so the student activities are obviously very important, but it's also important to look at what the university itself is doing. And then we also rate schools on how well they are linked to the local community. For instance, how well they perform at giving information to the local community. And of course, education and research are also very important. And so these are the 4 axes on which we evaluate campuses. And so, of course, to achieve this, we have over 170 categories on which we rate the universities. And it's very easy to input into the system. And so if you visit this URL that's displayed here, you can see the entry form. And if you would enter it here, it will go to our servers automatically. And therefore, you'll be able to see your overall score. And so these are the details on which we evaluate the schools. And then the blue section is the management, and then yellow is education management, and then the others are community outreach and environment. And you'll see that the student activities are very important in the education and research section. And the level of student participation in university initiatives is also very important. And so we believe it's very important to establish a good environment for these activities. And so this is one of the grading systems. And the full score here is 350 points. And of course, there may be some examples in which the university isn't large enough to have a certain type of initiative, or doesn't have a certain level of study. And in those situations, you don't have to actually make a answer. You can just have an exception. However, it's good not to have too many exceptions, because then your score won't be accurate. And so so if you can get between 85 and 65%, then you'll be certified as a gold school, and above 85% means a platinum certification. And of course we prepare these so it's easy to understand for the schools. So right now we're still compiling the data for 2019, but the previous year was also the very similar kind of data. And so a total of 104 schools are registered for last year, 2018. And 76 schools provided us with a answer. And there are also schools abroad, overseas, that are also interested in participating. And so they had a school from Australia and a school from China participate in this last round. And we received 10 surveys from overseas. And so we grade the schools on the following level. Right now they're written as A through F. And so the yellow represents the overall amount of points. And so you'll see that there's one school here that was been rated above 85 points, and that school was rated as a platinum school. And so that was the Japan Industrial University that was certified as platinum last year. And then other schools such as the Telecommunications University of Japan, the Gifu University, Hokkaido University, and Mitaka were certified as gold schools. And it is free to join and participate in this survey, so please take a pamphlet later if you're interested in participating. And it'd be great if you could participate next year.
And now, I'd like to talk about what exactly it is that Hokkaido University does. How has Hokkaido University implemented different systems into its campus? This is the timeline. Hokkaido University in 1996 was one of the first national universities that implemented a sustainable master plan. In 2006, about 10 years ago, the campus master plan gets renewed around every 10 years, and it was last renewed in 2018. And we've used for the first time the phrase sustainability within our campus master plan. And as for why we decided to do that, the government summit was first the summit that was first opened in 2008 in Sapporo declared sustainability, and we were and because we were the host of this summit, we felt that we needed to progress sustainability before any other colleges or universities implemented the same thing. To progress sustainability, in 2010 we built the first sustainability headquarters. And since then, big chunks of progression have been made. The main problem as of right now is that we did make a sustainability headquarters, but we don't know how to progress sustainability in a specific way, in a tangible way. So first of all, the plan was to make a criteria and grading system, assessment system, so that we can understand when we are making progress with sustainability. This chart shows the assessment of Hokkaido University when it was still not yet implementing sustainability quite successfully. For example, it's kind of difficult to see with the pointer, but for example, regional society and environmental division. Compared to other schools that have received gold scores, it's far lower, as you'll notice. It's better if you look at the next slide. And if you look at the parts that are jutting out on the bottom and the left side, you can observe that Hokkaido University actually has lower scores than other schools. And that is to say that we're not doing this so we can get recognized by the assessment system, but it's to recognize that which areas Hokkaido University is weak at. And it's very easy to recognize the problems that are arising per school. And we release an assessment every year so that we can make sure that different schools know what problems to tackle gradually. And what we've listed here is the fact that no matter how many progressions we've made, there are a lot of areas where there are no progress. The scores don't rise. And so we recognize that we have to do something about this with a different approach. What do we need to change in the management of the universities to make the scores rise? In contemplating this, 2 years ago, we remade the 2018 campus master plan. We put a lot of emphasis on the campus managerial division. And this is the same for ICU, but how do we maintain a bountiful environment? These were some of the concepts that were implemented into the framework plan that we made in 2018. And the question becomes, how do we make this tangible? How does this manifest into progressing sustainability? And by having a master plan and having the assessment system, we can see clearly what are the first problems that need to be prioritized and solved. And to do this, we made, and I've said earlier that we made the campus progression headquarters, and we changed it to the sustainability headquarters, or SCM. First of all, we made faculty and teachers galvanized into one division, and on top of that we also included students so they could cooperate. And I find it weird that in such a large environment like a school, students have to learn, faculty has to manage, and teachers have to teach together. And we felt that students can also be involved in the managerial process. And if we neglect this, the cooperation with other divisions that are outside of school become far more difficult. So the plan was to make sure that this is prioritized. And to do this, we have a lot of different working plans. Of course, we have the master plan and the question of how to ratify that. But for example, As you know, ICU also has a very bountiful nature surrounding its campus. And we have a working plan, or we have a working division called bioecological management, which observes the little ecosystems and small creatures which live in the nature that surrounds our different campuses. And we believe that it's important to make sure we know what kinds of wildlife surrounds us. And we also have a sustainability campus working group. And the question becomes how to keep networking with other divisions and groups. And this isn't a educational division. It's more a managerial division. And we focus more closely on how teachers and students can work together, and to make sure that there's no gray zone between learning and action. This is one of the systems that show clearly our aims. So between the managerial factor and the students and faculty and staff, or teachers, and we'll talk about this later, but the sustainable development goals cannot be realized. I think we're okay on time, so I'd like to talk a little bit more about the relationship between ACCS and SDGs.
The Chiba University also achieved the GGA Green Gown Award. And within these universities, they promote what each university are doing. Their goal 11, which is sustainable city development, and also goal 12, which is sustainable patterns. So, however, it is you only have to say that you are doing something. So it is no way to tell, or they do not have to turn in the evidence that they are actually doing what they are doing. So is it not possible to use ask to be able to see what they're actually doing? And that is it needs indicators, and that is my concern. It is related to the initiatives of the universities, but there are many which cannot be easily done. So above is the section for asks what they're waiting for, and the bottom is the SDGs. There are 230 something goals for now. So these are the tendency scores on ask on certified schools. So the universities which were able to earn platinum and gold is about 14, and these data are gathered on this screen right now. So even though they are getting platinum and gold, some sections scores are not as high, which are in white. So in balance, their scores are higher. However, if you look closely, there are weak points and strong points. As research sections are usually high universities, waste and information spreading is also, and asset managements are higher in universities. However, development of human resources or environment and a specific point of ASSC is post-natural disaster role for universities. Because there are many natural disasters in Japan, we would like to score on how they are dealing with natural disasters in Japan. However, most universities are not thinking seriously about the post-natural disaster role of universities. To analyze these data, we have been creating the composition of ASSC and SDGs using text mining. We had analyzed these scores. And so the blue section of diagonal box, so are they thinking about clean water and restrooms for everyone, or the problems on specific countermeasures for CC, or protect the richness in land? So the scores are really high on ASSC and SDGs on these components. If they get high scores on ASSC, it is considered that they are working on that goal. However, in the horizontal section, the horizontal blue box shows how if those numbers in the blue box are high, they could be said that they are generally pushing the SDGs corresponding goals. At last, the number surrounded by the red box is saying how it is very constructed. For example, if they are dealing with resources well, the 15, 16, 17 goals are being done properly, and if the scores are high for land problems, goal 15 should be done very well. Or if the energy and resource scores are high, the goals 3, 6, 8, 9, 11 should be done, or could be said that it is done properly. However, because those scores are high, it doesn't mean that it is in a happy state. We had analyzed that these are very, very much related. However, these examples in the red box, even though it is highly evaluated, their scores are not too high. So there are many more things that could be done. Because the ask, even though it is said that if those scores are high on ask, that they are pushing the SDGs goals, however, the scores are very low on many of the universities. If you see it this way, you would be able to tell what we should be doing right now, what goal we should be working towards. And by using this, we should think about how to develop more sustainable universities. And this is what I am here to say today. Thank you very much.